Bienvenidos. Vamos a hablar sobre por y para. Por and para are a little bit problematic for some people because they can both translate as for. And so sometimes there can be a little bit of confusion as to when to use por and para. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to differentiate between the two. And then over time, you're going to practice a lot of Spanish and it will become second nature. And over time, you won't really think too much about the rules. You'll just speak the language. But it is very helpful in the beginning to know the rules so that if you ever get stuck, you can depend on them to help you figure out which is the right word. Okay, so when to use para. For a specific location, like a destination. Nos vamos para Madrid. Okay, we're leaving for Madrid. That's our location, our destination. Salió para la playa. He left for the beach. ¿Para dónde vas? Where are you going to? These are all destinations or locations. When you're giving somebody a gift or for someone's benefit. Compraron el libro para Raúl. They bought the book for Raúl as a gift. Trabajaba para Juana. He used to work for Juana. Okay, so as a benefit, he got paid. El concierto fue para los granjeros. The concert was for the farmers. It's an odd sentence. Anyway, so for their benefit. As a deadline, like a due date. Necesitamos tu respuesta para el viernes. We need your answer by Friday, the deadline or due date. La tarea para jueves es leer capítulo 3. The homework for Thursday is to read chapter 3. Okay, so this is for a deadline. To express your opinion. Para mí, el fútbol es el mejor deporte. For me, soccer is the best sport. La clase de francés es fácil para ella. French class is easy for her. Okay, so these are opinions. You could also think of it as kind of a comparison. So for me, it may be interesting, but maybe for other people, it's not. Okay, French is easy for her, but maybe not easy for other people. So it's an opinion and kind of a comparison. For purpose, used for something. Es una caja para joyas. It's a box for jewelry. Fue al supermercado para comprar cigarrillos. She went to the supermarket to buy cigarettes. Don't ever do that. Okay, so this is purpose. You can also think of para meaning in order to. Okay, a lot of the times the word para is followed by a verb, an infinitive like comprar, in order to buy. That's the purpose. Estudia para ser abogada. She's studying in order to be a lawyer. Here's some other uses of para that you'll see. Incongruous description. Es bajo para su edad. So this is that description I was talking to you about before, comparing to others. So he's short for his age. Para niña habla bien. For a little girl, she speaks well. Another odd sentence. Understand, I didn't make these up. To be about to, or to be ready to do something. So you're about to do something, you're at the point of doing something, and you usually use it with the verb estar. Estamos para almorzar. We're ready to have lunch, or we're about to have lunch. Ahora está para escuchar. Okay, now she's ready to listen, or she's about to listen. And here are some expressions that you see with para. These are just idiomatic expressions, things that people say. Para entonces, for that time or for then. Para qué, so that. Para siempre, forever. Para variar, for variety. Now here's por. Por is an approximate location. Estacioné mi coche por aquí. I parked my car around here, somewhere around here. Caminamos por Madrid. We walked around Madrid. Paseaba por la playa. She was walking along the beach. Or it could be she was walking by the beach. Just depends on what your context is. when you're having an exchange. Compraron el libro por Raúl. They bought the book for Raúl, not as a gift, but as an exchange. I don't really like that sentence, honestly. I don't think that's a very good sentence. But I like these. Benito jugó por Ricardo. Benito played for Ricardo in his place, so he replaced him. There was an exchange there, okay? Trabajé por Juana. I worked in place of Juana, okay? I didn't work for her and she paid me. I worked for her as in I substituted her, okay? So if I were to say trabajé para Juana, that would mean that Juana was my boss and she paid me. Versus trabajé por Juana means I came in and I replaced her. So she has this job and she's sick and I came in and replaced her and I did her job in her place. That's the difference between trabajar por, to work in place of, and trabajar para, to work in employment of. I think the first sentence here is compraron el libro por Raúl. They bought the book that was written by Raúl, okay? I think that's what they meant there, but that's not really an exchange. Okay, is an approximate time. Salgo por la mañana. I'm leaving in the morning. For a duration of time. Caminaste por 30 minutos. Did you walk for 30 minutes? That's a specific period of time. Viví en España por 3 meses. I lived in Spain for 3 months. So for a certain duration of time, you're always going to use por. For cause, meaning because. No podemos practicar por la nieve. We cannot practice because of the snow. Now, you're thinking, well, because is porque, right? Well, porque is because when it's followed by a sentence. Okay, for example, no podemos practicar porque hay mucha nieve. We cannot practice because there is a lot of snow. So we have a verb there, I, right? Here, there's no verb. It's por la nieve, because of the snow. So when you're saying the word because, and it's not followed by a verb in a sentence, because is actually por and not porque. Fue al supermercado por cigarrillos. He went to the supermarket for cigarettes, okay? So it was because of the cigarettes. It was the reason why. If you say fue al supermercado para comprar cigarrillos, he went to the supermarket in order to buy, then you could use para, but that would be followed by a verb. Fue al supermercado por cigarrillos. He went to the supermarket because of needing cigarettes. Manner. Pablo viajaba por tren. Pablo traveled by train. So it's by or via or via. Some people say via, some people say via. Marta me llamó por teléfono. Marta called me by phone. Eduardo le pidió por Snapchat. Eduardo asked through Snapchat or asked by means of Snapchat. Other uses of por, you can use por in the passive voice. Las chozas fueron destruidas por el viento. The little houses or little huts were destroyed by the wind. Okay, this is a structure that you're actually going to learn a little bit more advanced Spanish, but when something is done by something, we use the word por. On behalf of or in support of, voto por Manuel Rosales. I'm voting for Manuel Rosales. So voting for somebody is always votar por. Trabaja por la gente sin hogar. She works for homeless people, okay? She doesn't work for them as in they pay her. She works on their behalf. She works in support of them. Remember, trabajar para is to work for somebody for employment. Trabajar por can be working in their place or working on their behalf, which pretty much the same thing. Think about it. Gratitude or regret. Gracias por tu ayuda. So whenever you want to say thank you for something, it's always gracias por. Perdóneme por mis acciones. Forgive me for my actions. To be in favor of, when you use it with estar, remember estar para is to be about to do something. Estar por is to be in favor of something. Estamos por almorzar. We are in favor of having lunch, as opposed to maybe, I don't know, going for a run or exercising. Okay. Let me go back to that too. Estamos por almorzar can also mean, depending on the context, and this is what I take it to mean as well, is we have just eaten. Like estamos por almorzar means we just ate, we just had lunch, okay? So that, to me, that's also what that could mean, okay? We could either say estamos por almorzar, like no queremos correr, we don't want to run, estamos por almorzar, we're in favor of having lunch. Or, bueno, ya comimos, yeah, we already ate, estamos por almorzar, we just ate, okay? But we could also say acabamos de almorzar, we have just eaten. So you can play around with this expression a little bit. An uncompleted action with an infinitive, so por can be followed by an infinitive. Hay mucho trabajo por hacer, okay? There's a lot of work to be done, right? But you can't say para, because then you'd say there's a lot of work in order to be done, okay? Different meaning. A unit of measurement. Compramos gasolina por galón. We buy gasoline by the gallon, okay? So whenever you're measuring something, por. When it means per. Ellas viajaban 100 millas por día. They were traveling 100 miles per day. Multiplication, times. 3 por 3 son 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And then some por expressions, some of which you may already be familiar with. Por ciento, percent. Por cierto, by the way. Por completo, completely or completed. Por ejemplo, for example. Por eso, therefore. Por favor, please. Por fin, finally. Por lo menos, at least. Por supuesto, of course. Por un lado, on one side, okay? Or por un lado, it's like on one hand, y por otro lado, on the other hand. See, they don't use hand when they say on one hand, you could do this. On the other hand, you could do that. You don't use mano, you say lado, which means side. Okay, that concludes this lesson on por and para. Now the por and para tends to be something that is a little bit problematic for some speakers of English, because they can both mean for, and sometimes we get stuck. My recommendation to you, do the exercises, do your best with them, learn the rules, and practice Spanish speaking as much as you can, because really por and para gets sorted out in your head through natural conversation. So the more you can converse, the better you'll get at it.